Yep. We'll see. Oh my god!
Nice. 2.
This is gonna be the cut.
1. Alright guys, welcome back to the Five Guys podcast. We are here with
Jonathan.
Joel.
Hav.
Rob.
And we are back. We are here with 4/5 of the members. 4/5 of the members.
Four-fifths.
Daniel is still on, what is it?
Personal
PTO?
leave. Yeah.
Personal leave,
Yeah.
so maybe he'll be appearing on the next episode. Really quick, I just want to start off the pod just giving a quick thank you for our audience members. We are coming up on 100 subscribers on YouTube, which is pretty exciting. I just want to thank everybody that's been interacting with our content and leaving us, positive comments. And of course, we have the negative comments, which we'll get into in a minute. But I just wanted to say a quick thank you to all you guys. It's very much appreciated. So, John, did you want to go ahead and take over?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I just want to second everything Javi said and say thank you to our audience and thank you to everyone who's been following us, responding to our stories. We definitely appreciate your answers and just that interaction. We're trying to engage more, so keep a lookout for some of those posts. But before we hop into this, I did just want to kind of give a disclaimer as well as an apology, because in our last podcast, we did have a few comments that weren't very nice, or we may have offended some people. And so the disclaimer here is that we are new to this journey. We're not philosophers, we're not teachers. As you know, in the last podcast, we indicated that we dropped out of college.
Proud of it.
Yeah, proud of it. And, we're learning as we go, but I just wanted to speak on behalf of all of us. Like, our intentions for this podcast aren't to ever offend anybody or to be discriminatory or, be condescending. Like, we're genuine people, learning how to podcast, and it's obviously going to take some patience and some learning on our end, but we do appreciate everyone who's provided feedback. But I did just want to take the moment to sincerely apologize, but also ask for an opportunity. The opportunity being as we continue to grow, as we continue to build our audience, we're not perfect. But if you do give us feedback, we hope that it's in a productive manner. And so with that said, the things that we say are very opinionated. They can be unfactual, not very credible. But again, a lot of these experiences are things that we've either learned personally or that we're continuing to, learn, or we've learned from other people. And so our hopes and vision is just to encourage people to do better, be motivating in some sense, and hopefully provide some sort of knowledge that you will resonate with and hopefully grow our following. And so I just want to make that super clear, because again, we care about every single member that is participating in our entry-level journey to podcasting. And if you don't know us, or you're going to continue to stick around with us, we just hope that you give us a fair chance to prove who we are and what we're about. So
Definitely. And I think all of us will do, our best to try to keep everything factual and, kind of do our research before we speak on topics. Not saying, I don't mean to put you on the spot or anything. I'm not saying that anything you did was wrong. But we're just gonna, for our audience, I feel like we all should kind of take accountability and just make sure that we just know the knowledge on
things we're talking about, for sure.
There you go.
Yeah, no, and I totally agree. And just to give you guys kind of a insight on how we prepare for these, we literally talk about it the night before.
Yep.
A lot of the discussions that we have are not scripted whatsoever. We come in, we show up, we do our little pregame, and then we get ready to podcast. And so we laugh because we're very unorthodox and we're not very strategic yet. But, the point of that is to just keep our content organic, to keep it from the heart. And obviously we're going to make hiccups because we might have difficulties articulating what we're doing. But all that to say, disclaimer, we're not professionals, we're not philosophers, we're not teachers. We are just speaking from our own experiences that we've either, experienced personally or that have been shared with us. And so we just ask for your grace during this time. But all that to say is like, hey, we're in this together. If you stick around, we hope to be better. And I'm super excited that we have 4/5 of the members here too.
It's the most we've had so far.
Yeah, absolutely.
Episode number 5.
It is episode number 5.
Statistic, is it after the third podcast?
After the third podcast, I believe most podcasts don't last. Apparently, like, people give up or whatever the case is. But I mean, we're all a little stubborn here. We all have goals and motivations, so we're all trying to pursue this because generally it's something that's fun that we enjoy doing. We don't come here expecting money or stuff like that. We just come here genuinely because it's 4 out of 5 guys that just have a great time talking. Because there's times where I'm at the gym and I'm talking to these guys for more than working out, and that's kind of a bad habit that I'm starting to form. But I don't want to do that. So where else can we do it? Well, right here, and why not invite the audience to come join us at the same time? I think it's kind of pretty cool. The community that we're building and stuff like that, especially in Stockton, there's so many communities out there. I was talking to Hal about this the other day. It's like there's so many communities out there. There's a weightlifting community, there's a cooking community, there's a makeup community all around Stockton. And it's beautiful if we're able to be the centerpiece, the glue, to bring all that closer together, as in where you have weightlifters and chefs talking about in the same pod or whatever the case is, because it's kind of cool. And I don't see anybody else really I don't really see anybody else in this city. And correct me if I'm wrong out there. There's probably other podcasts, but I just feel like we've been consistent with it, and I think that's definitely what's going to separate us from the rest. But yeah, that's just something I just want to throw out there real quick.
Yeah, and I just want to add to that, and I'll get done speaking, because if you haven't watched the previous ones, I talk a lot. I don't know why, but
we love it.
Yeah,
we love it. They love it.
Yeah, it's very natural. But the one thing that I saw on Port City Strengths stories, so shout out Port City Strengths, their local business. I purchased a sweater from them because Joel didn't want to give me his yet. But one thing I seen on the story, which was super cool, because we all met in the gym, but the story, the person in the video was recording a story, and basically what he said was we're trying not only to build strength in the gym, but in our community. And I think that is very pertinent to what Rob is saying, is the future goal of the 5 guys is to get more interactive, get more engaging, get people in here that are like-minded, have similar virtues and ambitions as we do, and hopefully just grow our audience. And if you have been participating, I don't want to be one of those pages where you DM us or ask us for things or try to get your name out there and us ignore those, because I've done that. But hopefully we get big enough where we can just support our community and help people build, because we're not successful unless you're successful, and if you're successful, then we're successful. And so again, that's just me saying thank you, and we definitely hope to continue to build a community that not only stands behind us, but that we can stand behind as well. And being in Stockton, I think they have a pretty cool culture of die hard, you know what I mean? So thank you guys.
Literally die hard. Sure.
Absolutely.
No pun intended. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
So, well, I'll take over. Just one last thing. Just thank you guys. I appreciate it from any family members or people that we used to know from old jobs or whatever the case is. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. Thank you for giving us the time to listen to us. Any little thing, helps a repost or stuff like that. But we genuinely appreciate you guys. But I guess to dive into it, did you want to do those screenshots towards the middle, the end, or do you want to kick it off with the community first?
Ooh, I would like to actually. So the screenshots he's talking about, I asked a question. We're going to share some answers from the people following us on our social media pages. But I would like to give it to the man who asked all the questions, to give a little backstory of himself, and maybe get the opportunity to ask him questions too. And then after that, we can kind of dive into the rest of it. And the man that I'm talking to is the guy right here. Brushed out, dabbed up, just so sick.
HAV.
Yeah, dude. So, again, we go unscripted, so we kind of just go with the flow. So I do just want to give him the opportunity to speak and tell his story, and what influences him to be the way he is, but also just share some wisdom with you guys. And we will come up with questions as we go.
I will say one last thing before we hop into this. If you guys see me jump in and out of frame, I'm readjusting camera stuff back and forth. That's all.
I know we talked about lifting in our previous podcast, and we spoke on your journey entry level into, you know, religion. And so as far as like growing up in Stockton, like you've been in the weightlifting community, you've done powerlifting. I don't know if you're power building, what style of lifting you're doing currently, but like where did you start? Did you play sports in high school? Was there like a certain club that you went to for weightlifting? I've always been curious because, again, you've been my challenger, and I've always been like, I gotta beat that dude, which I'm still working on it, I promise. But I just kind of want to know, like, you know, from the audience, like what your interests are, like how'd you get involved with like lifting and some of your highlights, I guess, as far as this journey goes.
Definitely, yeah. So I guess, we'll jump into my lifting journey. It didn't really start till after college, or maybe it was during college. I played college soccer, so I grew up playing soccer all my life. So I've always been a person, like a fit, athletic person, but I was never lifting. It was always, you know, having to do with sports. So I was always into that, always wanted to be, I guess, fit, but never like, oh, I'm super strong, da 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 da. So I guess it was after college that I got into lifting. So I had one of my friends, and you know what's crazy is where we're at right now, inside this garage is where we started my whole journey. Mr. David Lade was one of my big inspirations. So I still look up to him. I look up to him for, you know, camera work, his lifting. He's actually like one of the top guys at Gymshark now. I don't know what exactly.
He's something about creative, like a creative director of some sort. I think I could be wrong, but I believe just because that caught my eye as a person with a camera myself.
Definitely. So his journey was like, his journey inspired me to kind of start my journey on, you know, weightlifting and whatnot. So he was kind of a power lifter / bodybuilder, I guess you can say, which is like the same thing that I am. But this year, 2024, my main goal is to do a powerlifting comp. So right now I'm getting all my numbers set. So right now I guess 315 bench, which I hit recently for a pause because I'm doing everything, you know, how you're supposed to do it in a comp. So 315 bench. Today I did like 455 deadlift, which isn't anything too crazy, but I haven't deadlifted in over a year. So getting back into that, and then my squats have been moving pretty decently. So I'm moving like a 485 squat. So yeah, I kind of just jumped all over the place. But to get back onto where my journey started, it was Mr. David Lade, big inspo, and then my friend Tom and my brother. They were into it before I was into it. So I started seeing them, and then Tom introduced me to David Lade's videos, and then it all started from there. So it started off at In Shape, and then from In Shape I would jump to like the Persian location, Hammer location, just meet new people, and then it's just all just went from there.
Nice. So when you first started powerlifting, like what were some of your PRs prior to you actually committing to it, and then what were some of your like PRs that you obtained at the peak of you powerlifting?
Dude, so when I first started, I always wanted to hit 225 bench, and I feel like that took me so long to hit. I'm like, dude, it's almost, to me, it was like almost a year until I hit 225 bench. And maybe, I think, when you first start, you go in thinking you know everything. Honestly, like when I first started, I'm like, oh, I know how to do this. I look back at videos and I'm like, my form was terrible. But I'm like over here like, oh no, this is how you do it. No, like, I mean, to me, I'm like, oh, I know what I'm doing. And I think that was just like kind of my ego taking over. But yeah, it took me about, when my journey first started, about a year to hit 225 bench. And then I wanted a 225 bench, maybe a 315 squat, and like deadlifts, I was like, I'll shoot high, like a 405. So that was maybe like, I hit that maybe in my first year. And then, what was your next question? Like, where am I at now?
No, what were your peak PRs?
Oh, my peak PRs.
Yeah.
Okay. Nothing too crazy. So squat was, I think, a 535. Squat. Bench was 335, and then deadlift was a 545. Which my deadlift is kind of low actually, because for where my squat is at, I feel like my deadlift should be a lot higher. But I mean, those are all gym PRs. A lot of people don't count them because they're not in a meet. So I think that's one of my main reasons why I want to do meet. I want to experience the like I've been to a meet, but I've never been in one. So just the atmosphere is just insane. Everyone's just cheering you on. You're like going up for your lift, and it's just like, oh, like
it's the energy that was.
It's the energy, definitely. So I want to be able to experience that and see where that takes me. So my main goal is powerlifting meet. And then from there, I'll make a decision on to where I want to continue with that or transition to bodybuilding. Because right now, I'm like, okay, powerlifting right now. And then after the meet, we'll see where that takes me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. And, dude, those PRs are absolutely stellar, to be honest.
Thank you.
I mean, I get people who ask about mine, and not to make this about me, but I'm like, dude, I'm average. And the only reason I say that is because I'm thinking of, like, you guys in mind, because I've seen how much you lift.
But he's repping out 15 like, for 5 on bench. It's crazy.
No, but all that to say is like, I think that is really awesome in itself, and you shouldn't undermine that because we talked about like the statistics in the world and like the percentile that you're in, and I think that's really cool that you put so much effort into that and are able to reach those goals because not many people can really say that, and I see a lot of gym goers that wish they could, and so with that being said, like. Powerlifting. So you said you're going to compete in a competition. So like, what does that entail? Like, I know that at the gym people use straps, knee braces, belts, etc. But like, are those all?
It depends on what meet or what federation you're in. So like, yeah, I'll be able to use knee sleeves. I'll be able to use a belt, squat shoes if I want them, deadlift shoes. Yeah.
Pretty much it. And then deadlifts, right? Is it freehand? You can use powder, or can you use straps?
Oh yeah, you could definitely use chalk.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay,
and,
cool.
No straps?
I think there's a federation where you can use straps. I'm not too sure, so don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
But I think there is, because I know that there's also like a federation where you can use like knee wraps, but that's not like the one that I'm going to be competing in. It's like knee sleeve.
Nice. Okay, cool. And then I know that. Going back to the beginning of your story, your brother and one of your fellow pals what got you into powerlifting. But tell me about yours and your brother's like relationship during this, because he powerlifts too, right?
Yeah.
And so, what did that dynamic look like?
I think, just growing up with a brother that's 2 years younger than I am. Everything that we do is a competition. Every single thing that we do is a competition. So it's like. When he got into lifting, so his lifting journey is a little bit different than mine, but he got into calisthenics first. So I wasn't really interested in that, but he gained a lot of strength from doing calisthenics. So when I jumped into lifting, he was already a lot stronger than I was. I think right now, he recently transitioned to running, but his numbers are still probably pretty crazy. But yeah, that dynamic it's always like, oh, I could deadlift more than you. Oh, I could bench more than you. Oh, but I could do this better than you. And it's always been like that. I'm better than you in soccer. I'm better than you. We play different positions. So it's just an ongoing thing. It's definitely, it makes it interesting, but like at the same time, I'm like, okay, like let's take a step back and I'm going to do my journey and you do yours. Because like, I think just having, don't get me wrong, I love it because I like the challenge. But at like some point, like you just hear it so much, you're just like, okay, let me just take a step back now. Yeah.
Out of curiosity, did that cause any? So coming from my background, I consider myself almost a single child just because of the age gap between my sister and I don't have any like blood brothers in that way. But God's blessed me throughout brothers throughout my life. For example, you guys. But from somebody who's come from like a single child mentality, did that ever cause any more like harm than good in a way where it's too competitive, where almost like you guys will get like into like, yo, what the about
we
that?
definitely get into like little fights here and there, but it wasn't nothing crazy like, oh, like we're never gonna talk again or something like that. But it was always like, yeah, there are some points to where we were like arguing about, no, I'm better than you at this, no, I'm better than you at that.
So it has its pros and cons in a way.
Yeah,
but more pros than cons because you always have like that person behind you who's like constantly chasing you, or you're chasing them in that way.
Definitely.
So positive reinforcement.
Right.
Yeah, that's really cool. So, so more of the sibling love is definitely real. And I think a lot of people can relate to that friction at times because it's real. I mean, we get into it too. I mean, me and Joel get into it because I'm like, ugh. But
yeah, definitely. Dude, I see her doing like 315 bench. I'm like, all right, No, but I mean, like, it's all friendly competition, and it's like, I think it's just men being men. Men love competition, so we're gonna do everything that we can to be like, okay, you can do that. Well, okay, let me do that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, competitive. No one likes to lose, and if you're second place, you're first loser. So, it's been a good challenge, though. So, I guess this just kind of leads into my other question, which is kind of like, who's stronger now, you or Daniel, at this point?
Me.
Nice.
The only reason why I say that is because he got into running, like marathons and whatnot. So, I know when you do that, you can lose strength. We haven't worked out together in a while, so I don't know exactly where his numbers are at. But I think recently I asked him, like, oh, what are you doing for your top set on on squat? And like, I'm repping out his top set for, like sets.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I don't know if he's just like not. Well, and he has been working a lot too, so that like plays a factor. So for your question, who's stronger? I don't know. Maybe we'll have like a little competition on like our Instagram channel and see who's stronger. Brother versus brother.
We'll do a pool. No.
Yeah, the Gomez brothers, and see who wins. But yeah, dude. So cool. Tell us a little bit about where you started, your current goals for 2024. Is there like a specific number you're trying to hit at this competition? I know that you said that you're training for it now.
I would say this is shooting really, really high, but I think I'm probably not going to do a competition till like maybe August, September, towards the end of the year. So I want to hit at least like a 345 bench, a deadlift of like maybe 615, 625, and I want to get at least like a 565 squat. And I think I'll be pretty solid there.
Nice. Yeah, dude, absolutely cool. And so, like, preparing for that, though, like, what is your current routine? I know these are a lot of little questions, but for anybody who is kind of curious about, you know, competing in a competition or looking for, you know, some advice, what does that regimen look like?
Definitely. So when I first started, you know, I'm trying to, you know, I'm taking in all these programs. Okay, I'm going to do this program for X amount of weeks. So I'll run like an 8-week program of like a legs push-pull split. And they're typically, like, I'll find them on Reddit. Like, there's like a 5x5
W Reddit, by the way.
Yeah,
W Reddit.
Yeah, and you could find like paid versions of programs on Reddit. So I'm like, oh, let me jump on Reddit. Yeah, so I'd find some programs through there. There was one program that I ran like consecutively back to back because it just worked for me. So I think you just really have to find what works for you and just run with that. So I did a legs push-pull split. And it was 6 days a week, but that was when I was a lot younger. So I ran that maybe for almost about a year. And you'd run it, make sure you just follow everything properly. And of course, it's going to have your heavy compound movements first. So your squat, your bench, your deadlift, and then a whole bunch of accessories after. So I ran that for a while. And then after like, probably about like maybe last year, I kind of stopped running programs and I started implementing, you know, oh, well, I liked, you know, this piece from this program and I liked this piece from this program. So I almost kind of created my own program from what works for me. Because everybody's bodies are different. Everybody recovers differently. So I'm like, okay, this worked for me, so I'm going to take this from here and then this from here. And I just kind of all mesh it together. So right now what my split is looking like is a legs push-pull, and then I'll do an upper body and a lower body just for like the bodybuilding aesthetics. I don't know if that's exactly like right for a powerlifting meet. So maybe when I get closer to a powerlifting meet, I'm looking into maybe getting a coach because I do definitely want to place first. I don't want to go in there and just not do well. So I definitely want to get a coach maybe, I don't know, what do you think, like 2-3 months before? I'm not sure. I talk to powerlifters and I like lift like a powerlifter, but I'm not too familiar like how an experience is with a coach.
Yeah. Well, that's a fair question. Sorry. I think anybody watching this who is into powerlifting or has competed should help our boy out, because we obviously want him to win gold, only gold. But when it comes to meats and maybe yourself, are you natty or are you not natty? And is that a factor that can disqualify you from a powerlifting meet? I don't know if you know that. But
yeah, I guess it. So for your question, I'm natural.
Fun fact: I thought you were on something when I first met you.
No way.
Well, no, when I
Well,
first, but like when I first saw you in Lyft, like I
Yeah.
thought like this. Well, I'm not trying to cuss, but this guy's on something right now because your aesthetics. His aesthetics are phenomenal. I will always say that because it motivates me in a way. But like, I thought you were on something. I thought you were on something, just all the time, you know. Just
yeah, and
all
I
the
take
time.
that as like a compliment because it's like, oh, like, not. I mean, you'd get people coming up to you like, hey, like, you natural, and I take that as a compliment because like you're working hard in the gym to get to where you want. So when people ask you that, you're like, no, I'm natural, but I appreciate the comment. Like, I take it as a comment. But yeah, your question was in regards to the meeting, right?
Yeah.
For disqualification. I think so. There's different types of meats. You can go into a meat, like a meat that does testing, and then there's meats that are untested. So if I were to go into a meat and I'm not natural, and then if I were to go into meat and I'm like taking stuff, but it's a meat that they test and then I get tested, then I'll get disqualified.
Okay.
But if I'm doing like a meat where it's like untested, that means that I'm gonna be lifting with people that are like not natural and probably like pretty strong.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm natural, so I'll technically maybe be at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
So
Cool. Yeah, you're gonna stick in the light for a little bit longer before going to the dark side.
no,
Yes,
dude,
no?
I don't know if I'll be able to transition to the dark side. I don't. I've thought about it, and I think we've all thought about it, because I mean, I think every gym goer that's been in the gym consistently thinks about it. But I've done my research, not like too intensely, but I'm just like, okay, has to do with needles. I cannot do needles.
Nice. Okay. Cool. I bumped his knee and went like this. I think this is an awesome topic for our lovely Joe Luna to hop in and speak on, and I'll let him share. What's up?
Well, first of all, as well, this is Joel, beautiful Joel. He was here in the first two podcast, first two,
First,
first couple podcasts where we were just trying to figure everything out, but we're trying to be more consistent with five guys being here. But this is our beautiful Joel.
yeah. Hey guys. But yeah, could you reiterate your question, please?
Yeah, basically, I was reaching to Joel because he hasn't said anything. But like, what is your opinion on the natty and the unnatty?
I mean, go for what you want. If I'm being transparent, like move fearlessly, understand what you're doing, and just be transparent with others. I feel like it's important to at least be confident in yourself to display honesty in front of other people when they do ask if you're on or not. As of right now, I'm currently off, but I want to be back on so bad. But it's just like I've taken it into a reflection of more of like enhancements being more of a gift, more of something that you earn rather than something that you put into yourself. So as of honestly, like yesterday, like I've been contemplating and thinking about it. John said it to me. He was just like, dude, you're slacking. And I'm just like, and I just like, dude, like I had to really take the step back and be like, am I really taking care of myself right now? So I'm just like, as of right now, like until like I get into a proper mindset of understanding why I'm doing this. Because, like, for me, bodybuilding is just something that's natural. Like, it's like bodybuilding, there's no question. That's something that I'll do as long as I'm mobile. For me, it's more about, like, through fitness, I can become better, so why should I stop? So it's just, like, I'm just still running the game. But, I mean, like, for my perception on, like, how people should treat drugs is just, like, be smart about it. Get a coach. Don't be afraid to have questions. Don't be afraid to share your questions, especially, like closed mouths don't get fed. And I'd rather have you do things right and receive the proper care before things are too late. So.
Yeah, and I think a big thing is to do your research, because right now I see a lot of kids that are in the gym that are maybe what, like 18, 19?
Younger
Better,
for
better.
sure.
Meatheads.
And they honestly don't even need it. It's
Mhm.
just like, I think they're putting more harm to their body right now. Because at 18, 19, you're still growing. So
Mhm.
to me, it's like, okay, well, achieve what you can naturally, and then if you want the little extra push, then do your own research, and if you decide to hop on, then that's what you decide to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And didn't mean to put you on the spot, but it was very a passive question that I gave Joel, because I understand that he's had the experiences with both being natty, both being unnatty, and I agree totally with you. Like, we do see, a lot of younger demographics taking it, and it's cool. But I've also seen so many videos of how it affects your body and stunts your growth a little bit, testosterone levels, etc. And I do think it's like a waiting game, because I'm not gonna lie, there's been times when I've been like, dude, it would just be so sick to get to where I want to be, being unnatural, and me being natural, I obviously have to just work harder for those results, and it's a lot sometimes. And I make a joke to Joel, I'm like, dude, I'm just gonna retire from lifting, let go, get fat, enjoy pie, watch TV. But I do think like it's not a bad thing, and I'm not trying to say that I have a preference or not. I'm sticking natural because I don't think that I'm done yet with where I'm going, and I've already come this far. But I do think, similar to their opinions, like be cautious of what you're putting into your body, and just know, if you're younger, like, give your body time to grow, because the most growth that I experienced was probably when I graduated high school, hit a growth spurt. And then when I turned 22, I hit another growth spurt. And then I was pretty much done growing as far as like my growth goes. But I put on a lot of muscle and stuff. And so all that to say is, like, be patient, but work hard for what you want. If you do decide to go to the dark side, which I think most people use that term, be safe, be smart, work hard. But I think you should put in your time natural first, so you have that work ethic established, so that when you do become unnatty, your results are even more stellar. Why not?
Yeah, definitely. And I guess this is kind of on the topic of like almost like instant gratification, because I mean, how long have we been at it? Almost, to me, I think it's been almost 6-7 years, and we're at where we're at now. I think we look pretty good for where we're at. But I mean, the kids nowadays are, I've been at it for a year, and they're looking almost exactly like how we're looking. So I'm like, dang. And I think kids now, they are easily influenced on what they see on social media. So they're like, okay, well, I see the Lex Littles or like the C-Bums, I want to look like this guy. Well, okay, how do I look like this guy in the fastest way that I can? Okay, take this X, Y, and Z, okay, I'm going to take this. But sometimes they don't do their own research, and that's how you run into issues, health issues, and all that.
Yeah, sorry about all the noise as well. We are in the midst of a huge rain and windstorm, if you can hear it on the pod. But yes, absolutely. Like, be smart, kids. Just be patient. I think it's just a patient game. Like, I mean, some of these people have put in years. Like, I don't even know how old C-Bum is, but I think he's in his 30s?
Late 20s.
Late 20s?
28, I think, maybe.
Yeah, late 20s. And then
I think,
I see people
don't
are like,
butcher me.
Yeah, 17 or 18. Again, one of those fact checks. So if we're wrong, somebody fact check us.
That's a beautiful example too. Sometimes we just say things off of memory, and it may not be accurate. So do your guys' own research on what we're saying.
Yeah, but the point is, if you decide to take whatever path that you want to take, like, be careful, be smart, but just know, like, it's a patient game, and it's not going to be instantaneous. It's definitely going to take a lot of work, and I mean, just that's it. Like, everyone's on their own path, everyone's driving at their own speed, and so just take it from us, and maybe one day you'll see us have different opinions. But for now, I'm kind of unbiased, but whatever. Thanks, Joel. Cool. All right, what's next?
Actually, I mean, a question out of curiosity. I kind of already know the answer over text, but I will say this is a question for everybody here, for insecurities when it comes to going to the gym in that way.
Nice.
Did you guys go through any insecurities, like gym anxiety, gym insecurities, body dysmorphia when you guys first started as just a welcoming wagon to anybody who's thinking about getting into the gym? In that
Yeah. Before we get started, I love that question, and that's the question I meant to use for transitioning into this topic. But just wanted to first say thank you, Avi, for sharing all that.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
And just to give you we're going to talk about insecurities today, but public speaking is very difficult and can be very challenging, and not everyone's comfortable with it. And I'm not going to speak on behalf of Javi because he can share his experience, but for someone who's getting into it, this is very tough to talk in front of a camera because
it is, especially from always being behind one myself. So
yeah, it can cause a lot. And so I appreciate Rob for transitioning us with that question, but I also just want to say thank you, Javi. That's cool that you stepped up, and it's not as bad as you think once we start get going, you know. So yeah, I mean, enough of me talking, but I love the question, Javi.
Yeah. So your question was gym anxiety.
yeah, so more for like when you started, because I only started lifting when I just turned 23, I think, almost about 3 years ago. That's when I first started my journey. So the first year was always like noob stuff, like learning everything like that. And these last 2 years, it was like I'm starting to get my ground. And I came in with gym anxiety, but like for someone like you yourself, for all three of you guys actually, because I would consider myself like more of the newbie when it comes to everybody who's a part of the Five Guys.
Right.
In that way, and that's just out of respect and just being obvious of it. But do any of you guys, especially you, as with your physique, do you have any advice for anybody who like has any like worry about going to gym or gym anxiety or body dysmorphia or anything like that? Just more of like a welcome wagon.
I guess when I first started, I already kind of had not like a crazy physique, but I had already an athletic physique. Where the gym anxiety came in was, I was working out here first, and then I transitioned. Yeah, here in the garage. Yeah, so this is where it all started, and then I transitioned to going into the gym, and I see different equipment that I've never used. So, one thing that I did to help my, I guess, gym anxiety, because you go in there and you're seeing all these other people work on these machines that you've never seen before. I jumped on YouTube and I'm like, okay, what's a lat pull down? I've never heard of that. Like, I'm not gonna have that in my garage. So, I mean, honestly, David Lade, I saw a whole bunch of his videos. You jump in there, and I think just use YouTube as a tool. Honestly, like you go in and how you see somebody, or even people at the gym. You could utilize people at the gym. We all kind of just bounce off each other at the gym. So I think it's just going into the gym, kind of have like confidence in what you do, and find a community that'll kind of support you. Because I feel like once you're in the gym and you find people that are kind of on the same journey, you guys can help each other out.
Yeah. We'll just go down the line, Joel.
May I hear the question once again?
Did you have, so in the beginning of your gym journey, did you have any anxieties, any insecurities, any body dysmorphia, and how did you grow out of that?
Actually, I didn't have any in the beginning. It was actually later on.
How so?
Yeah, later on, it was more about like, it wasn't necessarily how I looked, but it was more about the output of my determination that I was insecure about. Because it was more about like, okay, like I understand, like I love my body in all forms. Like whether if I'm skinny, if I'm swole, if I'm chunky, if I'm lean. But it's more about like the way how it impacts me and fitness impacts me mentally is more about like, how am I committed to this? How much am I pursuing? Because bodybuilding and lifting in general, your fitness in general is like the one thing where if you put 110 back, that's what you receive. So it was more about like me being insecure over the fact that I always felt like I was under-delivering. I still feel like I'm under-delivering as of right now, but I'm slowly finding my passion into bodybuilding again. So with the stems of insecurity, it was more about like I'm letting myself down. Because I'm not going 110. I'm not leaving with everything I'm not leaving with everything dispelled out of the tank. Like I always feel myself feeling like I have more to give, and that's the beauty of this journey. I'm learning not to be so, be so goal-oriented, rather focusing more on the process and then the people who I meet through it and the person who I become. So I've learned to really relax when it comes to the form of like creating my own enemy in the gym. I'm just learning to realize that like, dude, like you really just gotta be in with all heart, like be intentional with what you're doing, and being intentional with where I display my feelings. I'm just like, every time I look at the bar, it's reminding that like I'm not going against anybody but against myself. you know, some just like Joel, it's not about like conquering oneself, but it's about how can I, how would I say, uplift in a way. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up playing sports, so grew up in the weight room in order to just be better, bigger, etc. But I do think, like, similar to Joel, I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily insecure, but I just feel unfulfilled, right? Because I do have really big ambitions. I don't like to lose. I definitely love to win. But more than winning, I just love to be good enough to compete. And so when I transitioned from like sports into more bodybuilding, it was like a whole new realm that I knew I had to humble myself and learn from. And growing up, I just had amazing teachers. Like I mentioned in previous podcasts, I learned from the people around me who were doing it for a long time, who weren't afraid to stop me and be like, dude, you look like a fool. Let me help you out. Which only made me want to do better, because I think, yes, insecurity is real. Gym anxiety is real. And I think a lot of people prevent themselves from even getting started because they're comparing themselves to the other people who've been doing it for so long. And I think for the gym goers who are, you know, either speculating getting into going to the gym or transforming their bodies, like, it just comes back to be patient, right? And just recognize, like, your results are based off your own efforts. You know what I mean? And like the people who come in, grind, even when they're tired, are the people that are killing the game. And so again, just like my last bit of encouragement, because it is real and I get it. Like the feelings that you encounter when you're starting something that you don't know, or, you know, you're surrounded by people who have done it for a long time, you tend to feel super insecure. Stop looking at everyone else and stay in your own lane, and know that what you put into your journey is going to be the results you get out of it. But also share that and be vulnerable with people, because there's so many individuals who are afraid to start their gym journey or you know, stay consistent, because going to the gym can be scary. So be vulnerable with people. Find gym buddies, a community or a group that you can like express that with and like motivate each other, because gym buddies are a real thing. That's how people motivate each other. And so if you're getting into it and you need a gym buddy, like reach out to people who are equally getting into the gym as well, and hold each other accountable. But I would rather than say it being like motivation, you just have to be consistent, because I think all of us can say we work full-time jobs, we have other aspects outside of our work that consumes time. It's going to take consistency, and being consistency is doing it even when you're unmotivated. So just know, if you're thinking about getting started, if you've been getting started but you're inconsistent, like the hardest part about bodybuilding is just getting to the gym. Literally. So get to the gym, and just know that we've all gone through some phase of insecurity at one time.
Definitely. And really quick, we're speaking on insecurities. Everybody has gone through insecurities, and it doesn't just have to be at the gym. It can be, you know, relationship insecurities. It could be personal insecurities. So your philosophy that you have, you can really implement that to anything that you're dealing with. It just really depends on how you deal with your insecurities, because if you let your insecurities overtake I guess how you're feeling, then it's just going to take you in the wrong direction. To whereas where you're acknowledge your insecurities and you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to do, you know, X, Y, and Z to help my insecurities, then you'll be on, I guess I don't want to say the right path, but you'll be doing something more beneficial for yourself.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. And I know that we've already made posts for people following us, disclosing that we're going to be discussing insecurities. And so kind of a cool segue, but yeah, I do think that there are so many different variations of insecurities that prevent people from doing a lot of things, or even internally, like not liking themselves, which is kind of a bummer. And so, yeah, I mean, this could come from fears, right? Anxiety, worry, abandonment issues.
Comparison.
Yeah, comparison.
That's a big one.
Huge one is
I
comparison.
think right now that is one of the the biggest one's because of social media.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was thinking about that the other day. And we'll talk about a little bit more about it because I think we all have kind of our own insecurities still at some capacity, but also maybe some advice that we each have that we can offer you that helped us get through our insecurities. And from there, I asked some of our followers a question, and I have some responses, which I'm like super stoked about, honestly.
I love how our audience is interacting with us, so keep doing that. We love it. We appreciate you guys.
Yes.
Did you want to, I don't know, were you going to kind of read off the...
I was going to ask Rob, because you brought up the other insecurities.
Yeah,
so like,
there's just one thing from, and this is me diving a little bit more into my personal life, just in general, is that one thing about me is I used to be a victim of my own insecurities because I would dwell on stuff for too long, compare for too long. I would always put people on a pedestal and always worship them as in they are better than me. And that was the most crippling thing I've ever done for myself. So once over time, where I fell in love with myself, I broke out of those habits, and I really looked at it. I think it came from David Goggins, and he gave us it wasn't a different podcast that he was speaking on, but he gave something about along the lines of like everybody else is so messed up in their own ways, they just hide it a lot better than everybody else in that way. Because I was always a victim of slowing myself down to my insecurities. I was like, oh, that person over there, that coworker, the other guy at the gym, oh, he has his life straight, he has everything. But in reality, that guy's life is probably just falling apart. He's just really good at hiding it. And that's I think a lot of people need to understand and wake up, like, everybody's life is messed up in their own ways. A lot of people get trapped in their own head with their own insecurities, with their own anxiety, and they weigh themselves down and they think everybody else's world is perfect. But in reality, we're all suffering through this world in different ways that some people hide it better than others. And I just wanted to share that message because I was a victim again for so many years of I'm this, I'm that, and oh, that person over there is so much better. But in reality, we're all equal that way. I just wanted to share that real quick, just as a message of encouragement. And shout out to Cylindr from Amazon because he checked me. He was a real great guy, real great leader. I learned a lot from him. He helped me mature. But I was like the victim mentality in a way, and he really snapped me out of it.
Yeah.
So big shout out to him because he was a big responsibility about my growth.
Let's go.
But no, yeah. Did you want to ask anything else? Or?
Yeah, no, I mean that's awesome. Thank you for being vulnerable.
Of course.
But I think I'm gonna share something similar to insecurities because I think one of the biggest forms of insecurities that I suffered from was abandonment issues and people pleasing. Abandonment issues being like if I wasn't what someone wanted or if I wasn't enough, they would leave me, or like abuse me or, just not see me for who I am. And the people pleasing is that because of that, I felt like I had to overly perform, like I had to be the best athlete, be the best student, bend over backwards to do anything that they asked for in order to receive their love, which can cause your own demise because when you're relying on someone to provide happiness for you rather than you being happy with yourself and complement their happiness, like that is setting you up for failure because happiness is based off of circumstance, but being joyful is how you feel through any circumstance. And so those were my two biggest forms of insecurity that I have had to really hold myself accountable to breaking those chains. And it's taken years. And so I think my encouragement to anybody who feels like, oh, I'm not good enough, or I have to overly perform in order to keep this person here is that, one, you're more than enough. And if the person that you're with, whoever's close to you, if you feel like in order to keep them around, you have to do everything for them, be everything that they need, they're probably not the people that you want to keep close to your life. And so I would encourage that you self-reflect and understand like these are natural insecurities that we don't acknowledge as insecurities because they're either subconscious or they're just a part of our lifestyle. And so if you ever feel yourself feeling down for some reason or insecure, I would like you maybe get introspective and check yourself on those because it happens. And it's not necessarily anything that you do to yourself, but a lot of it is traumatizing. It's just from trauma. And I think that's where my insecurities come from. But when you start to love yourself, when you prioritize yourself and stop caring about what everyone thinks, and you start setting boundaries and acknowledging that not everyone in your life is meant to stay in your life, and that you're going to be just fine without them. is when you start to like really truly love yourself for who you are and the characteristics. And this is my last thing because I do talk a lot. My last story is I didn't recognize how much of I suffered from these two insecurities, abandonment issues, and people pleasing until one day I was talking to my manager, who's the sweetest lady, and this was like 10 years ago. Sweetest young lady, big heart. Everyone loved her. She was always so cheerful, always so smiley, always like worked super hard. And one day I was like, hey, you know what? I just want to be, I want to be just like you. And she literally told me to shut the F up and was like, stop. And I was like really like baffled because I thought I was paying a compliment. And she was like, dude, like, I don't need you to be like me. The world doesn't need you to be like me because I'm already here. But when you stop being you, you're taking away from the people who need you. Mm-hmm. And to me, I was like, whoa. And that changed my whole perspective. I took off the old lenses, threw them out, put on some new ones, and started really like being introspective about like who I am, the things that I bring to this world. And it's very telling like how good a person is or like how much value they bring to this world by the amount of people that really would support them. You know what I mean? And I hope at the end of my days that I'm not getting buried alone and that I have a community behind me, you know, and that's just with legacy. But all that to say is like, if you needed to hear that reality check, like, don't try to be like everyone else, like be yourself, because you're taking away from the people who are looking for you, that need you and want you for you. So
definitely, and it's be the best version of yourself, because I feel like, or be the truest version of yourself, because when you're portraying to be some type of way, it's not, I feel like it's not as authentic. Is that the right word? Yeah. So, yeah.
Cool. Joel?
Ooh.
I feel like for me, my insecurities, one of the biggest ones that I typically go through is my how do I say, my capabilities in providing. I feel like that's where a lot of my insecurity stems from, because I feel like in order for me to be of importance into your life, where I need to be providing something, either to pastor, to provide, to protect, it's either one of those three key points that I see where I believe I'm of service to you, because my biggest thing with being in relationships is of me being of service. So actually, like, I'm actually going through this insecurity right now, if I'm being transparent. Like, one of the biggest things is, like, I've been recognizing is just, like, dude, like, Joel, like, you're just so angry. You know, so that's, like, one thing that I'm really just learning, and I learned that as of recently because I realized, like, the people who I'm surrounding myself with, I'm unintentionally hurting. So it was just, like, I had to really take a step back and be like, Joel, like, what are you doing? What's going on? Like, if I'm being honest, like, I feel like it wasn't the cause of it, but, like, it was more of a reminder. It was more of a conviction, I would say. Thank you for a conviction. But it was more about, like, when you were finding your spiritual awakening. Because I haven't talked about it much, but I used to be a youth minister as well. So as of right now, this is just me, like, finding my way home through my own ways at this point right now. But yeah, like, reflecting upon your journey, like, I pulled back a lot, because, like, for me, it's just like a relationship with the Father is more important to me than the relationship that we have amongst each other. So, like, because I was like, that's the best way that I know that you can be loved, that you can be taken care of, that you can be safe, is if you stay close to Him. You know, so I was just like, with my own convictions and my own reality and accountability, I was just like, you know what, this relationship and the person who I am now is hindering to my brother's faith. So just like within that concept is just like the best way that I can do is just either like distance myself. I'm so used to running away, and this is the one time that I didn't. I'm so used to just like running away, doing my own thing, tucking off into my shell, because I've always been very self-sufficient. I've been capable of achieving things on my own in silence without the applause of anybody else or the congratulations or anything of that sort. So like, I almost ran into this hole, literally, like, I think I almost did it, like, yesterday, where I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna disappear. Like, I deactivated my Instagram again last night, and then, like, I just reactivated it again right away. Like, Joel, like, if you don't get this right, you can't be here for your people. So I was just like, Joel, like, you just gotta break the cycle. So, like, yeah, thank you for just as five guys for being so patient with me, for being so graceful and allowing me and giving me permission to at least be myself, you know, because I'm just like, yeah, like dude, like I was just like, I really want, like I'm so used to just running away, like I really have this like switch where I can just turn off like all emotion and just tunnel through forward, but I realize that I don't want to live like that. Like I want to live life with my brothers. I don't want to live life as lonely. Like I have no reason to not have a counterpart to do life with when I have people like this. So yeah, thank you. Yeah, because
Always here for you.
Everybody's on their own journeys. I mean, and I'm glad we're all able to come together and do what we're doing. And I know it's tough. Everybody's schedules are different. Everybody's journeys are different. So just appreciative for you guys being here.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I just want to commend you for being vulnerable and just to acknowledge, like, people take expressing your feelings or being vulnerable as a weakness. You know what I mean? Because we hear about complaining or people, like, you know, running away from their situations. But I think the strongest people that I have met personally are the people that can express their feelings thoroughly, concisely, and impactfully, in a sense. And so I encourage, especially coming from a man, you know what I mean? Because we're supposed to be strong, stoic,
macho.
Yeah, macho. But I'm a sensitive dude, and I think it's because I'm very passionate, and I know Joel's similar in that sense, and like passionate person. Really, I'm sensitive in other ways too, but. You know, I think like it's taken me a long time because I used to be numb and I used to just suppress my feelings and compress them to the point where I just didn't know how I felt anymore. But
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, go for it.
That's exactly where I guess that's what I'm trying to work on, because I know exactly what you're talking about.
No, I laugh because same. I'm relating with you and then you as well. It's just funny seeing this unveiled.
Yeah, because I feel like I'm a person to kind of, you know, keep things to myself, and I'm like, oh, I can do this on my own. But it is good to be open. It is good to be vulnerable. There's a time and place to do it. But for me, it's like it's something that I'm struggling with and trying to work on.
Yeah, and yeah, no, absolutely, and it's definitely like Joel opened this can of worms, so shout out Joel. But where I was going with that is like, you know, I think we hinder ourselves from being vulnerable because we feel fearful of being invalidated or unaccepted, which comes back to just like this topic of insecurity. But from somebody who went through that stage, it took a point, I guess, like the solution to this, right, is learning how to be introspective with yourself and have grace for yourself and understand like you need to love yourself through thick and thin, head to toe, in and out. Absolutely 100% love yourself for who you are and what you're about, for you to get to a level where you can be more expressive and be more sensitive and be a goofball, because like I think comparison comes into that too because of society. And like, I mean, Stockton, there's a lot of like macho dudes, you know what I mean? And I like have always tried to be like against the grain in that sense, and I'm not afraid to be goofy. And anyone who knows me, I'm a goofball. But
I love that about you.
Yeah, absolutely. And so thank you. You know, I think the one thing that and that doesn't take away from me being manly. Like being sensitive doesn't take away from you being manly. Like again, like some of the softest hearts come from the hardest places. You know, absolutely.
I think it's definitely just having a balance of everything, where you're not too overly balanced in one area, being too sensitive, and then not being overly manly, where you just come off as like a dickhead almost in that way.
Well, overly sensitive, I think, ties back to insecurity, because like jealousy, right? Like I'm jealous over the woman that I'm speaking to because I care about her. I mean, we're jealous over the things we care about. Like if you saved up $100,000, you're gonna protect that, right? But then there's people who are jealous because they're insecure, you know, and I think that gets confused a lot, and it all stems to the individual themselves who's getting jealous is insecure, you know what I mean? But back to my point was, it's going to take a lot of like character building, right? Being introspective to get to a point where you are so confident in yourself that whatever anybody else does doesn't affect you. And a couple of my favorite quotes, and here's me rambling. You're going to be so confident in yourself that what other people do and say doesn't affect you. And that just allows you the freedom to express your emotions, be more open about who you are. Express yourself, basically, in the sense that you just don't feel any pressure to suppress. And you just want to be at a point, and I think this was like something else that resonated with me. I just wanted to be at a point in life where I don't make people work for my love, because I work out of a place of love. And despite what they do, it's not going to affect who I am and what I do. People have my trust until they lose the trust, but I'm still going to trust people until I don't. But all that to say is, like, when people do damage that extension, it's more of a disappointment than it being hatred. Mm-hmm. Because I know people who allow that abuse to happen, and then they hate people. And I've hated people, and I've been in that ugly place, and I just didn't like the way I felt, and I didn't like the way that I let other people make me feel. And so I really just focused on the things that I can focus on, and focus on the things that I can only control, and it's myself, right? And so I'm not saying I'm invincible any means, but I think over the time of enduring like the hardest of the hard, and being real intentional with myself, my emotions, my mental state, who I surround myself by, and just really, again, putting myself first, allowed me to reach a space where I'm like, cool, like I get to just like be me and chill. And if people like me, great. If people don't like me, I'm not everyone's, taste, which is totally okay. Like, your life is still valuable, and we're gonna go our own paths. It's just ours weren't meant to connect, but.
Amen. Yeah, just agreeing with everything that you're saying, just as men in general.
And so, I mean, I would just say anything. Like, I know that you acknowledge that that's something that you're working on. Just understand that who you are and what you're about is exactly how you were designed, and you have the people around you who see that and value that. And so, and the people that don't, who cares? They're going to go to the bed fine, and you're gonna go to bed fine, but you're gonna be better off for it when you just let those people go.
And don't ever try to people please people who are a part of your past either. I will say that a lot of people, I've seen it in myself and in others, where you're so worried about the insecurities that you got over, but the new insecurity is from trying to maintain old relationships with people that should just end up falling off for the healthy reasons, of course, in that way. And I was a victim of that, but that's something I'm slowly getting out of anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if people are meant to be in your life, they'll be in your life. And I think we've all heard, like, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
And you don't have to fight for that person to be in your life.
Mm-mm. Yeah, it should never be that way. And if you feel yourself over-exhausting your energy, and more importantly, just sacrificing your peace to keep somebody around, they are not meant to be there. Absolutely not. And when you do have the right people in the right place and the right things in your life, we talked about this. If you know, you know. And there's a reason why that's a saying, because the vibe, the connection, the universe, it just all aligns. You know what I mean? And it can happen, with people that you know, or people that were strangers at one point. But, I mean, that just goes to show. Yeah, we were all strangers. Yeah, but that all goes to say, like, protect your peace at all costs, right? Protect your identity further than that at all costs, because your identity is the most valuable possession you will have on this planet of 7+ billion people. And no one could be you or do you better than you can. You know what I mean? And so why go to bed angry and stress out what other people think? You're the only person here that's you. Mm-hmm.
Perfectly said, bro. And just please, like, really consume the message. Don't, like, put it through one ear, not the other. Like, this is, like, things that will save you a lot of time, a lot of frustration, a lot of anxiety, and a lot of stress. It's part of the self-improvement and self-growth. That's from somebody who had about 2 years to himself after a failed relationship, that really just fell in love with himself and removed people from my life, from my past. I had a really toxic friend group, removed myself from that group, stuff like that. And now I'm using my life a little bit vulnerable right now from my past. I had friend groups I thought that were going to last forever, fell apart, backstabbing, crap talking, all that stuff. I'm trying to mind my language. I don't have to go back and clip it. But what I will say to what John is saying is, like, this moment, I feel like this is so natural. I don't have to fight for anything. I don't have to worry about anybody talking about behind my back or anything. Like, we're all here just for better improvement. So if anybody's ever in a situation where you guys feel like, oh, my life's this, my life's that, I have these people, I have these anxieties, it does get better in life. It does. And I will use my life currently, like with what God has surrounded me with my relationships with everybody, is just something so beautiful. So don't ever feel like you're stuck in one spot. You could always grow out of it that way. But yeah, there's a little insight.
Yes. Cool.
But yeah, I see that you have your phone. Did you want to go over the community ones?
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out community. Yeah, again, just before I get into this, does anybody else have anything to say or add to that last?
Follow us on Instagram at 5.guys. That's where our questions are coming from.
Yep, absolutely. Yep, follow us at 5.guys. If you follow our personal pages, you'll see us post our 5 Guys page a lot. So please give it a follow. The bigger the audience we have, the more questions we can ask and the more answers we get to read, hopefully in the future.
And I think a couple of us already have it in our bios. I'm not sure if that's something you guys are going to do, but I have it in my bio. I know Rob has it in his bio. So easy way to access it.
Yep, absolutely. So just to give you guys some context, I've been working on just like being more engaging with our audience and the people who are committed to following us. I mean, just with the select few followers that we have, it's just been really cool to like see that you are intrigued or like supporting our journey. Hopefully, you know, we obviously grow as a podcast and our audience expands, but for the people who are with us now, again, thank you so much. And
Very
so
much appreciated.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice.
No, but also genuinely thank you to all the people who we never really talked to, who just genuinely support us. Those I think matter more than somebody who just followed us, but they don't watch our stuff. Yeah, everybody's busy, of course, but it's just genuinely cool seeing somebody who you guys maybe like talked once or twice to in person. You guys follow each other on Instagram, but then they went out of their way to follow you on your new journey that you're going through with podcasts. But just shout out to everybody. But you know.
Yeah, so I posted that our topic is going to be insecurities, and I just said, hey, quick question. We're speaking about insecurities today during our podcast. Do you have any advice or a favorite quote you'd offer to anyone suffering from insecurities? And these were our responses. And just to let you know, we will be posting some of these responses, correct?
We'll screenshot, but the name will probably be cropped out, and I'll do my best to avoid the profile picture just for personal experience and stuff like that. Best of our ability.
Yes, to protect you. But you guys all said some really great things.
And by the way, if you guys don't like that story, please DM us immediately, and we'll remove it as fast as we can as well. And we'll probably ask you guys before posting it too.
Perfect. So this first individual, yes. I think advice I'd give as someone who's had very bad insecurities is that everyone has insecurities they don't speak out. It is normal to have. We're all human. Sometimes speaking out about it with someone you trust helps, and they can give comfort. And I do hope anyone who hears this knows not to let those insecurities stop you from living or taking opportunities.
Love that.
That was sick.
Solid. That's solid. Especially, I hope to anybody who hears this is a genuine message from someone, you know?
Yeah. Do you guys want to read some? So I'm not the only one reading?
My
Okay.
dyslexia got to me.
Okay.
So I'll hold off for now.
It's like calling that gangster kid out in class.
Exactly.
You want to read?
But, you know.
You know what I mean? Those memes. That's like when you call the gangster kid out class, or even the memes. Like I've seen some that were like, "I'm only gonna date you if I hear you read out loud first." Oh man, tough.
I'll do the best. I'll try one. If not, I'll just cut it.
Okay. Cool. This other individual, best advice I've ever heard is just don't care what others think. You do you, and you'll thrive more than ever. Parentheses, like tunnel vision. I feel like nowadays people think a lot of what others think of them, and it brings them down.
I love that. I want to kind of jump on what they said. I feel like for me, that was one thing that I was kind of like, I guess because we're all putting ourselves out there for the pod. And, you know, pretty soon, or I'm pretty sure it's just going to come up, you know, controversial topics, and everybody has their own opinions, which is perfectly fine, but, you know, us five, we're going to be putting ourselves out there, and it's just like, you have to just be secure in how you feel and voice how you feel, and just really just not care what other people think. And that's one thing that I don't want to say I'm working on, because I've kind of overcome that, but I definitely know what I resonate with what they said.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off of you before anybody else can comment. I mean, yeah, I think like the don't let it stop you from pursuing your opportunities is huge, because if you don't know the backstory about our podcast, it was literally just on a whim. It was an idea that we spoke about, and we just took the step to make it happen. And I think there's so many ideas that go on through our heads, or so many goals that we have, or so many just like thoughts in general that we have run through our mind, and we're like, this would be awesome, but we never take the time to put it into reality by taking action. And so I am like very proud of our team and our brothers here, because we talked about the podcast, and we're probably like a select few that have actually followed through with it. And I think, yeah, the statistic,
Just being so driven, regardless whether it's in the gym or think projects that you want to achieve it, because it's why not? Why not? If they could do it, why can't we?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And vice versa. If we can do it, why can't you? And so if you've had a thought, or you have let fear or insecurities prevent you from taking the step towards your dreams or opportunities that you want, just do it. Nike, for real. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, please. Cool. Do you want me to read a few more and then pass it off, or do you want to take your shot now?
I'll throw one. Just throw me a medium-sized one.
Oh, that one. They're all pretty big.
Oh, Lord.
I'm going to give you the longest one.
Hey, it's more growth.
There you go, buddy.
All right, so are we just reading the answer right now?
Yeah.
So it says, one thing I would say if you're insecure about it is to own that insecurity by making it your thing. For me, it was having an accent for the longest time, but I got over it by understanding that I had that accent because I spoke another language. That separated me from others that only spoke one language. I like that, actually, because you, in a way, before you mentally compared yourself to only one person speaking one language, but you have the tactical advantage by speaking two languages. That's pretty cool. That's generally pretty cool from somebody who speaks broken English, because I was stubborn when I was a kid. But I respect that, and I love that. Definitely.
Yeah, bro. I mean, you're elite. The bilingual is a massive skill and a massive flex, because I know people that can't order tacos, and I'm one of those people who barely speak Spanish, and I'm Mexican. So
I'm right with you, bro. When I was a kid, I was just young, stubborn, and did not want to learn. I regretted all of it. I wish I did. Not too late to learn Spanish, though.
Yep.
I will say that.
Yeah. So thank you for sharing that. Go ahead, Javi.
Okay. This one says, just be true to who you are. Don't change for anybody. People are going to hate and talk regardless. Just focus on your goals and do what you want to do. That's it. Wow. Dude, you know what? And I personally know this person. I'm not going to name drop. I appreciate you for supporting us. I haven't talked to you in a while, and it's just crazy that you're supporting us. So thank you. I appreciate it. You'll know who you are.
Yeah.
Did you want to read one?
Yeah, pick a random one.
Nice.
I'll read exactly what she said. She said, yes, for sure. I'll keep it simple and simply say that everyone has their insecurities. Everyone. But take accountability and action for whatever it is, and check yourself, because real growth begins when you take your power back and get uncomfortable. Turn your losses into your best wins.
Ooh. Who is this?
A lot of advice out there, like solid advice. Not like, yeah, you'll get over it, but like genuine, thorough advice. I love that. Thank you, by the way. And I guess with this being successful, I'm not stopping the conversation or anything, but I guess going forward, we'll definitely try to engage with the community a lot, because like-minded people, I mean, if they follow us, they have like-minded, probably their own like-minded experience too, to share more.
And shout out this person, because I've seen them at the gym, haven't spoken to them. I don't think we've actually had a conversation, but you're supporting us as well through this journey. And what you said, if I didn't know you, I'd fall in love with you for sure. Because I think a lot of people need to hear this, because it is really powerful. And so I do appreciate you just taking the time to respond to it. Cool. This one's a little lengthy, but I'm going to read it verbatim. Love this. Love this. They love that I asked them a question. As far as advice goes, self-love is the first step into really getting over any insecurities about yourself. No matter what or who you have in this world, you're always going to have you. So embrace that and love who you are. Self-love can challenge any insecurity you have and really can make you be the most confident person that you can be. Another piece of advice would be who you surround yourself with. Are they people who encourage you to or make you feel insecure by the way they act or talk to you? Once you analyze those other relationships and eliminate them, this can help you find better people you want to be around. Wow, I'm impressed. Shout out. I know this person personally too, and thank you, bud. Cool. Do you want to do another?
How many do we have in total as well? Did we want to go
There's
through
only
all
a few
of them?
more. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
We might
Yeah,
have
they took the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Let's just pass it on down. Try not to butcher it. Is this the new one or is
Yep,
this?
new one?
Gotcha. It's funny because I also know this person personally since high school. I appreciate you. Again, this is a beautiful example of what I talked about earlier. People who support us that we haven't talked to in such a long time. But this person said, my advice, don't let fear or insecurity stop you from trying new things. Believe in yourself, do what you love, and most importantly, be kind to others, even if you don't like them. Nailed it right there. Even if you don't like them, that's the critical part, because I realize for my own things, when I don't like somebody, I might not give them the best of my attention, my best of my love. But over time and, through the Bible and through God, I've learned, just do everything you do with love, regardless of if they did you wrong, if they gave you a dirty look, or you just don't like what they're wearing, or whatever the case is, So, I 100% reside with that, even if you don't like them.
Yeah, and I think just to add to that, kill them with kindness, to be honest, because at the end of the day, if you're doing everything right and they're the ones doing the things wrong, shout out to you for being the bigger person. But I think people who act out in anger or hatred are the people who are just reacting to those individuals. And it's no, be better than them. Don't stoop to their level. Kill them with kindness. Love them. Show grace. And move forward. And if you're letting them affect you negatively and they're people that you don't love or they're people that you do love, check yourself, So I really appreciate that. That was really awesome.
This one says, I think I'm in love with John. Can you send me his contact?
Hey, yo, somebody shooting the shot.
It's Joel. He DM'd us.
No, okay. Back on the topic. This one says, to love yourself, you must learn yourself. You guys will definitely have an amazing way of explaining what I mean. Appreciate all of you guys for accepting everyone who they are, and thank you guys for becoming some good friends of mine too. Hey, I appreciate you, brother. You have really good energy, and just keep doing you, brother. Appreciate you.
Wait, who wrote this one? To love yourself, you must learn yourself. You guys will definitely have an amazing way. Yeah, dude. I mean, it's just all stems around just being introspective. I think as humans, we focus on so much around us and social media and the lives that are lived that aren't ours. And when you start living your own life and taking the reins back and focusing on the things that are right in front of you is when you just see life brighter. And I said this before, but my dad would always say, before you know where you're going, know where you're at. Before you meet someone new, know who you are. Right? Because you're only going to be better. The relationship's only going to be that much sweeter. So I would say similar to Javi, thank you so much for sending this. And yeah, dude, just look forward to more of your responses. Doing well.
So this is the last one?
This is the last one.
No, there's one more.
Okay.
They went through the effort of following us, and it's in the request.
I appreciate you, whoever you are.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, when it comes to insecurities, man, you gotta just remember that it's you against you. And you gotta remember that it's all a process and it takes time for those to go away. But with time and effort, those insecurities will just flow away, especially if you learn to love yourself first.
Well, I love that. And that's crazy that you read that one is because you kind of said something similar in regards to, your journey.
Mm-hmm.
It's you against you.
Mm-hmm.
Love that.
A lot of beautiful mindsets out there. I just want to say that.
Yeah, give me the chills. Ooh, so excited. This one's short and sweet, and I love that. But be who you are and be that well.
Mm-hmm.
Be who you are and be that well. Ooh, I love that stuff. I'm huge onto compliments and words of affirmation. I'm a softie, just again reiterating that. But when people have advice for individuals that come from an authentic place because you probably experienced the other side of things is just absolutely amazing. And I am a huge advocate for underdogs or people who've made it through the trauma and the sticks in the mud and are better for this life, this generation in general. So shout out to you. This last one, anybody want to? Yay.
Oh, it's a long one. No, so this is a story. Okay, yeah. This individual said, "Be comfortable being uncomfortable." That was my stomach. Sorry. And sorry, I'll read that again out of respect. Sorry, my stomach growled. And that was like loud. Everybody heard it.
Here's the weather.
Be comfortable being uncomfortable, and I think all of us could reside with that. Even just, I mean, for me, just especially going to the gym, is you're in an uncomfortable environment when you first start, and then over time it just becomes comfortable. So you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. But I genuinely appreciate that one.
Yeah, and I can resonate with that one too from being here, because I feel like, well, especially today, because today was supposed to be like, oh, like, not all about me, but it's like kind of my background.
May have been my fault. I said interrogate and interview.
Yeah, interrogation chair, so I'm like, oh, well, here it goes. But yeah, uncomfortable. How did it go? Be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Correct.
Yeah, be
Love
comfortable.
That way.
Yeah. Do you have anything to add to that last one? Going as in a circle, so.
I think we're about to close it out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, final words?
One thing that I could say, just like stemming from insecurity, was something that I've learned and recognized as of right now. Learning not to uphold an image that is no longer a part of me. I feel like, especially too, like I feel like that's where it stems a lot of insecurity of feeling like you need to under-deliver, or feel like you always need to provide. So I would genuinely just say is just learn the people around you and learn yourself well so you can conduct yourself properly, and yeah, just like learn how to take care of the others around you.
Yeah. I don't have any other piece of advice, but I did just want to comment on this last one, because I do think this is important. Diamonds are formed under pressure, right? But you're your most creative at your lowest moments, because either you excel or you don't. You know what I mean? And so I've always been a huge advocate for put yourself in uncomfortable places, because the only way to learn and to grow is just to do it. And when you are in life, I guess this is my last piece of advice. Don't run away from things. Don't run around things. I know the journey through things can be really difficult and hard, but the person on the other side, right? You, journey beginning, journey ending, are going to be better than you would ever expect. And I think anybody who's experienced some insecurity or trauma now, who's made it through, can say like they wouldn't change anything, right? And so we don't wish it upon other people. We hope not to reenact these things with other people, but for us and the character that we've built and established, it was probably really uncomfortable. So life is going to take its turns. It's going to be really uncomfortable. But I did just want to say thank you before I pass it on to everybody who took the time to respond. Yeah, I mean, I just got the chills just reading everything that you guys said. It was very beautiful and thoughtful. And for anybody who's watching this, sorry, talking a lot. I need water. Anybody who's watching this, I just like hope, again, that you understand that we're uncomfortable right now. This is discomforting being in this position, starting this podcast. But shout out to Javi and shout out to Joel, and shout out to Rob for being here, because it is really scary. But we're gonna be better. We may not be perfect right now, but we just hope that at the end of the day that we're the people you're looking for, and that at least there's something that we said in all this, I don't know, talk that resonates with you. And if not us, hopefully some of these answers that our beautiful audience took the time to respond resonates with you in one way or another. So that is me saying thank you so much.
Definitely. Any closing statements?
I had a closing announcement, but if anybody else had any closing statements.
Come on.
You want to pass me what's behind Joel?
Oh no.
Mm.
That Louis Louis bag.
So, I used to stream a lot on Twitch, and I did one of these before. It's called the One Chip Challenge. I think they don't sell them on Amazon anymore because there was a horrible accident that happened with it. However, we have an extra one, and I think we're gonna save this if everybody is a part of it. If everybody's cool with it on Five Guys, that after a certain milestone, that we'll spin a spinner, and whoever's name lands on it, we'll go ahead and take the chip. I think this might be cut. We'll get everybody's opinions after, but just to throw this out on the spot, that somebody from the Five Guys
I'm
might
down.
be doing a one chip. I've done it before, so it's not that bad, but it's
Increase
bad.
our following.
Yeah, so certain milestone. It might not be anything like in next week's, but just to have like that little fun in the back of everybody said like, oh, X amount of followers is, somebody's gonna do the one chip a part of the Five Guys, and we'll definitely probably have it at the end of the pod because that individual will go through excruciating pain and suffering.
Yeah. Before you end with that, do you want to
Yeah.
just tell them where we're at real quick with our statistics because we didn't get a chance to share really.
Yeah. So for those of you who are keeping up with us and are actually still here, because I know this is the end of the podcast and people lose retention at the end. But our new Instagram, there was an incident that happened with our old Instagram. My fault. We're about to hit 50 followers on Instagram. We're about to hit 100 followers on YouTube, which is a really big success, especially because there was a period where we did 2 episodes and we stopped for a little bit and then we came back to it. But our YouTube is about to hit 100. And I think our TikTok, we just got up and going, and
I think we're about maybe 30.
30. And visually, it might be like, oh, it's not that big. But at the end of the day, like 100 people in front of us, it's a lot of people. 30 people in front of us is a lot of people. 50 people in front of us is a lot of people. In total, it's like 180 people of all like across all platforms. So about 200 people follow us so far from 3 platforms. I think that's just beautiful. And just another big thank you to you guys as well. But that's what I had about stats and following. Is there anything else that you want to touch on? For stats or anything like that?
No.
Analytics?
Just
Yeah.
want to say thank you. Javi, anything?
No, I guess we'll just wrap it up. Thank you guys if you made it this far in the podcast, thank you for watching the whole thing. Yeah, if you guys have any comments or any topics that you'd like to hear on the podcast, go ahead and leave it down below in the comment section and we'll get to it. Go ahead and follow us on our Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Subscribe, like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, we'll see you guys on the next one.
Appreciate you guys. Later.